be doing few corporate programs that Shri Baldev Prabhu and team have tried to arrange. So we'll have a series of sessions on like today morning, today evening, Sunday morning, and it continues Monday also. So we'll be discussing on the Gopi Geet. The sessions will be in English और उसका हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन जो होगा वो FM पे 108 FM 108 FM पे चलेगा. उसका हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन आप उस पर सुन सकते हैं. तो आइए हम इस गेस्ट चैतन्य चरण प्रभु का विल वेलकम हिम to ISKCON BCEC by once chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Gopya uchuhu Jayati te dhikam Janmana vrajaha Jayati te dhikam Janmana vraja Shrayata indira Shashwadatrahi Shrayata indira Shashwadatrahi Dayita Drishyata Dekshutavakas Dayita Drishyata Dekshutavakas Tvayi dhrita savas Tvam vichinvate Tvayi dhrita savas Tvam vichinvate Jayati te dhikam Janmana vrajaha Jayati te dhikam Shrayata indira Shashwadatrahi Shrayata indira Shashwadatrahi Dayita Drishyata Dekshutavakas Dekshutavakas Tvayi dhrita savas Tvam vichinvate Tvayi dhrita savas Tvam vichinvate Jayati te dhikam Janmana vrajaha Jayati te Shayata indira Shashwadatrahi शाश्वदत्र हि शयत इन्दिरा शाश्वदत्र हि दयितदृश्यतां दिक्षुतावकाश त्वयि धृता सवास्तां विचिन्वते
ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। My dear Lord, please guide us all as we try to appreciate the devotion of your greatest devotees and develop a drop of that devotion in our tiny hearts. Hare Krishna. I am grateful and delighted to be here with all of you today. And over the next few sessions, as we prepare for Adhashtami, we'll be discussing from the series of verses that are celebrated as the Gopi Gita. So the Gopi Gita is basically one of the most beautiful and devotional compositions in our tradition. So I'll be using this as a whiteboard to write and draw certain things. And the format we'll be taking is, we'll try to take 3 or 4 verses in each session, and we'll be reciting the verse. Preferably, instead of reciting the whole verse, we can just recite one line 2-3 times, and then go to the next line 2-3 times. And so what we will do is, first we'll recite it a couple of times, then we will discuss it, and then we will reflect on it, and we will sing it again. So once first 2 times we can sing it, then we'll discuss, then maybe 3-4 times each line we can sing, then we can go to the next verse. Okay? So that way we'll try to cover the whole Gopi Gita in the next few sessions. And before we start the Gopi Gita, I'd like to give some context. So I'll talk about the context from 3 different perspectives. Context is textual, that is, in the Bhagavatam, what is the place of the Gopi Gita? Oh, it's gone? Okay. It had come. It was there right till now, na? Okay. It's saying connected over here. Is the light on over there? The thing is, I want to do screen recording, and we can't do that if we have. It works normally. Okay. Okay, maybe just keep it careful. I'll not move it. Let's hope it works. Thank you. So, we will look at the textual, that means in terms of the Bhagavatam, where does this prayer come? Then we'll look at it traditional, that means we look at it in terms of the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, what is the significance of this series of prayers? And then we'll look at it in terms of organizational, that within ISKCON, there has been some reservation about studying these kind of subjects. We'll try to understand what the reservation is and how that can be addressed. Okay. So textual, let's begin. The Srimad Bhagavatam has how many cantos? 12 cantos. So how many chapters? 335 chapters. Then the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, actually speaking, well, there are 335 chapters. The 10th canto has how many chapters? 19 chapters. In fact, the 10th canto is almost the one third of the Srimad Bhagavatam in terms of the verses and in terms of the length of the section, because some verses are smaller, some verses are longer. So the 10th canto is by far the most important of the Bhagavatam. Of course, every section is important. Now, within this 10th canto, broadly, the first 40 chapters are about Vrindavan. The next 10 chapters, broadly, are about, can you guess? Mathura, yes, Mathura. And then, after that, it is about, well, it's more like based in Dwarka. After that, Krishna becomes a traveling preacher. He becomes an international celebrity. So he is, like say, if there's a head of state, then the head of state, say the Indian head of state, Indian Prime Minister, is the head of state of India, but if it's a globally influential figure, then a significant amount of time he will be traveling all over the world. So like that, if you consider from 50 to 90, barely less than 20 chapters are, only about 15 to 70 chapters are in Dwarka. So Krishna is based in Dwarka, but he has activities and adventures all over. So now, among the 10th canto, there is considered to be one of the sweetest sections is the Rasa Panchadhyay. Pancha Adhyay. What does that mean? 5 chapters, yes. Pancha Adhyay. So 29 to 33. So 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So now, among these chapters, basically, there is a description of that pastime which is among the most iconic images of Krishna. Whenever we think about Krishna, there are 4 or 5 pastimes that are generally come to the mind. One is, say, Krishna stealing butter, another is Krishna lifting over the hill, another is maybe Krishna with the cows. So, like that, one of the iconic images is Krishna performing the Ras Leela. So, that is this particular section. Now, within these 5 chapters are actually considered extremely important, also extremely exalted. And some of our acharyas have written books explicating these 5 chapters only. Now, when I'll be speaking, we'll talk from Anandavan Champu and Gopal Champu. These 2 are books which have retold these pastimes with much more elaboration. So, apart from that, also other books are there. But these are considered very important. And now, what happens in these chapters is basically, the first chapter is Krishna calls the gopis. So, as we know, that Krishna plays his flute. And his flute is a call. So, it is a call for all living beings. But at that particular time, it is a call for the gopis. So, when the gopis, they sarva dharman parityajya mahamekam sharanam braja. They leave everything and come to Krishna. And then, And they come, they have a conversation. Then after that, it seems that the rasa dance is about to begin. That's what the preparation for that rasa dance is. Starts happening, the gopis have some discussion, and then what happens is Krishna disappears. So Krishna disappears. And the gopis are devastated. And the gopis search frantically for Krishna. They just can't find him anywhere. Anandandavan Chapu describes that they go deep into the forest of Vrindavan, and the forest is so thick and dark over there that they can't even see their own hand in front of them. And then they decide that we cannot find Krishna like this. So they can't retrace their path, and they come back to the banks of the Jamuna, and they sit down on the banks, and they sit in a circle, and they are envisioning as if Krishna is there in the middle. And they are all offering prayers to Krishna. So Gopi Geet is prayers calling Krishna to return. So that is the Gopi Geet. So this is the gopis' emotion is at its most intense. They have left everything to come to Krishna, and now Krishna has left them. And is it their fault? Is it Krishna's fault? What happened? How did something like this happen? What are they meant to do at such a time? It is the agony and the despair and the longing and the hopelessness and the unbearability of their situation that is poured out through their hearts when they sing the Gopi Geet. Now, after the Gopi Geet is sung, Krishna reappears. Now, when Krishna reappears, on one side the gopis are delighted. On the other side, the gopis are enraged. It's like, say, if our child has disappeared. Maybe a child, there was some argument, the child threw a tantrum and child ran away from home. Now we are in anxiety. Is my child safe? Is my child okay? Where is he? Where is he? And then when we find our child, on one side we are relieved that you are safe. On the other side you are angry. How could you run away like this? How could you put me in such a situation? So the gopis are partly delighted and partly enraged. And at that time they have a conversation with Krishna, where they are indirectly trying to criticize Krishna. On one side, say if we are chastising our child, we are also afraid the child should not run away again. Is it? So they are afraid that Krishna should not disappear again. So they try to understand that they're trying to, on one side, criticize Krishna, express their anger, but also trying to understand what happened. Now, why did Krishna have to disappear like that? Did Krishna not value their love? Did Krishna abandon them? And then Krishna speaks his heart. So there is that celebrated verse, Naparayeham. Krishna says, I cannot repay the debt that I owe to you for the kind of love that you have displayed. And we will see that what is the significance of that statement of Krishna as we move through the Gopi Geet. And in the last chapter is the actual rasa dance. And when this rasa dance is a majestic performance of love, and when that ends, then the gopis return back home. And they return back home, and it's described that Krishna had arranged for expansions of the gopis to be there at home. So none of their family members were actually upset that they had gone away. And in this way, Krishna protects their family situation, protects their dharma. And then there is the Falashruti. The Falashruti is what is the blessing to be got from here. And that Falashruti is also very significant. That Falashruti is that that person who hears these pastimes, two things will happen, which is ultimately the purpose of life. That bhakti will increase and kama will decrease. Vikriditam vrajavadubhir idam cha Vishnu. That vikriditam, this krida, this play, one who hears this, for them, Shraddhanvito anushrunuyat atha varnayedyah. One hears or describes these pastimes, then systematically, with proper understanding based on the Shastra, Guru Sadhu Shastra, based on the Parampara, then anushrunuyat varnayedyah bhaktim param bhagvati pratilabhya kamam. So the bhakti in the heart will increase, and rudrogam ashva apahinoti achirena dhira. So rudroga is the material attachment. That will go away. In one sense, this is a consistent theme of the Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many verses which say the most auspicious thing for a living being is to increase the attachment to the Lord and to increase the detachment from the world. So that is the phala of this pastime also. And how this phala manifests through the study of discussion of this pastime, we will move forward as we discuss. But this is the broad textual context. Now, within this chapter 31, I'll just complete this textual context with two more points. We have one by one, the verses go forward. Now, generally speaking, when we look at the structure of thought, say if you want to know the Bhagavad Gita chapters, so then we can say, okay, this chapter has these three sections, and then this section flows into this section in this way, this section flows into this in this way. So normally we might consider that each is a unit of thought, and it is building towards a point. This is considered to be a linear structure. However, the Gopi Gita structure is not linear. Well, it could be analyzed in that way. From whatever I have studied, the best way I have found to understand the Gopi Gita is to see it as not as linear, but as directed to one point. It's not exactly circular. What does that mean? That each of these verses is actually essentially one call. That call is, please return. Krishna has disappeared from the gopis, and each verse is actually a call to Krishna to return. Please come back. Krishna, please return. Now sometimes that call is explicit. Sometimes that call is implicit. Most of the time, in fact, it's implicit. Sometimes it is explicit, where it says, Charudarishaya, please, your beautiful form, please show that form to us once again. But most of the times, this call is implicit. So, implicit means that when two people are very close to each other, at that time, they don't necessarily have to speak words explicitly to convey the point. Say, if we have some guests coming to our home, and that guest is close to us, we like them, we value them, and we have prepared nice food for them, and they come an hour late. Now, we are happy that they have come, but still we are unhappy that they came late. And then we may not directly ask, oh, why did you come so late? You kept us waiting for so long. We might just indirectly say, the prasad has become cold. So now, if they are dumb and they don't get the point, they say, can't you heat it? I say, I feel like hitting you now. So it's not a matter of heating the food, it feel like hitting you, right? So the idea is that when something is conveyed indirectly, the other person needs to have the intelligence to understand what is being said. So there is literal speech and there is non-literal implication of the speech. And our language is filled with such non-literal statements. So the gopis do sometimes call out to Krishna to come, but they are indirectly expressing the plight of their heart. They are voicing their memories, and thus they are expressing their longing for Krishna. So now, this is that, so we will look at each verse as a call for Krishna to return. We'll see how that is a call. And then one last point is, we saw it was Gopya Uchuhu. So what does this mean? It is the gopis spoke. It is not Gopi but Gopya. It is a plural. So does that mean that all the gopis had memorized the Gopi Gita and they were all reciting it in chorus? Say like when we have Govindam Adi Purusham. So it is a recording is going on and we are going along with the recording. But say recording stops, then we sing it ourselves. So is it that the gopis are all singing it in chorus? No. It is the Gopyas, actually there is a very beautiful harmony of the individual and the collective over here. All the gopis want Krishna to come back. And while each gopi, all the gopis want Krishna to come back, but each gopi is speaking one verse. And now Jiva Goswami goes into analysis of the characters of each of the gopis, and then he surmises. Surmises means he infers. He arrives at the conclusion which verse is spoken by which gopi. Now that's quite an esoteric subject which we won't go into, because each of the gopi has their individual personality and their backstory and their particular flavor of the relationship with Krishna. And based on that particular flavor of the relationship, they are expressing their emotions. Just like if somebody in a family has a heart attack, and then now everybody is in anxiety and everybody is praying. And now, but each person, say if the husband has a heart attack, then the wife is expressing her emotion in a particular way. Maybe that person is a child of someone. The mother will be expressing emotion in a particular way. The father will be expressing emotion in a particular way. The child will be expressing emotion in a particular way. The siblings will be expressing emotion in a particular way. A family may be expressing emotions in a particular way. Now, in this case, each of them has a different flavor of the relationship. Now, while the gopis all have the same flavor of madhurya, but at the same time, each gopi is an individual. So basically, bhakti has this mystical capacity to preserve the individual while also maintaining the collective. There's always this fear that if I become a part of a group, I will lose my individuality. But if I try to emphasize my individuality, then I won't be able to belong to a group. So this Gopya Uchuhu, that plural, now this is not unprecedented in the Bhagavatam. Say for example, sometimes it is Rushya Uchu, Devta Uchu, it is said. Like that theme comes, the Devtas offer prayers. Now sometimes in the Bhagavatam it is said, say for example, after Narasimhadev appears, it describes the different Devtas. Brahma says this prayer, Shiva this prayer, Indra says this prayer, like that. But sometimes it is, the Devtas are said to say collectively offering prayers. So there is individual and collective at different times in the Bhagavatam. So in this case, the gopis are offering collective prayers, but it's each prayer offered by one gopi, and that gopi is expressing her heart while also expressing the also representing the group as a collective. Okay. So this is the textual context. Now from the textual context, if we look at the particular verse that we discussed, Jayati te dhikam, that the gopis are saying that Krishna, this place, Jayati, it's much more become glorious. Jayati is Jaya, glory. Te adhikam, even more. Janmana vrajaha, that once you were born in Vrindavan. This verse is one of the pramanas that Jiva Goswami uses to highlight the point that Krishna was born in Vrindavan. That normally the understanding is Krishna was born in Mathura, but Krishna also was born in Vrindavan. So Janmana Vrajaha. So the mood over here is that, oh, this land of Vrindavan, it is glorious and it has become even more glorious now that you have appeared, O Lord. Janmana Vrajaha. And what is the praman, what is the substantiation for the point that this place has become even more glorious? That they are saying, Shrayata Indira Shashwadatrahi. So Indira is another name for the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. So that goddess of fortune has come and started staying over here. And not just staying over here, Shashwadatrahi. Shashwad is Shashwat, constantly, perpetually. So, now many places are sometimes in history blessed by the goddess of fortune. They become extremely powerful, extremely prosperous, and that place becomes sensational when it is that prosperous. But the nature of history is that what is prosperous at one time, its prosperity soon declines. It doesn't last for long. So Lakshmi Devi is known as Chanchala. Just about a month or so ago, I was in UK, and UK at one time was the superpower of the world, and it is a small country but extremely powerful. Now, well, of course, at a basic level, UK is still well-to-do, but there is a lot of anxiety over there. The geopolitical stature of UK has fallen substantially. Leave alone a first grade power, it is not even a second grade power now. It is becoming almost like a third grade power. I was talking with some devotees in Britain, and so I was in England for some time, then I went to Scotland for some time. So most of the devotees in the Western countries that we have are mostly Indians, but there are also some non-Indians. So there's one devotee who was a British devotee, English devotee basically. So he's very actively involved in the politics, or at least he was interested in the politics of UK. So he was telling me that overall, for the British politicians and for the British, every country has its national pride. And that's not a bad thing, because whatever we belong to, we need to feel healthy and happy about belonging to that. But one of the bitterest pills for them to swallow was two things. That India exceeded Britain in economy. And then an Indian became a Prime Minister of Britain. So, the head of state of Britain. So, two things happening simultaneously. It was very difficult for the British ego to swallow that. So it's telling that this is an example of a country might be very powerful at one time. So, the fortune of Lakshmi Devi, that is there, but it is not, it is Chanchala. It is there for some time, but after some time it goes away. Now, before the British came to India, what happened was, India was extremely prosperous. So although there was Islamic invasion of India, and there was some amount of religious intolerance, but the key difference between British and Islamic rule was that many of the Muslims decided to make India their home when the conquerors came. And when they came, because they wanted to make India their home, they didn't destroy the prosperity of India. They may have wanted to convert Indians to their particular way of living, but they didn't destroy the prosperity of India. Now, for the British, they considered going to India like a sentence to Kala Pani. They thought India is such a hot, sweaty country, and they consider the people are so uncivilized according to their way of civilization. So they would consider any officer who's posted in India, that is person's got a punishment. So their whole focus was, let's plunder the wealth of India and get the wealth of India as much as possible out from here to there. So basically what happened is, the prosperity that is there, it comes, it goes. So India was very prosperous, now slowly the prosperity is recovering. I met one devotee in Africa. He says there is a saying in Africa that when the British, especially Christian missionaries, came to Britain, to Africa, he says when they came initially, They had the Bibles and we had the land. Now we have the Bibles and they have the land. So basically, power shifted. So Lakshmi is Chanchala. But what the gopis are saying over here is Shashvadatrahi. That Lakshmi has become Achala. She is here. She is longing to be a part of Krishna Leela. There is a place in Vrindavan where there is a temple where Lakshmi Devi is performing austerities to enter into Vrindavan. But so we won't go into that story. But the theme over here is the point we're discussing is that the gopis are calling to Krishna, please return. So the mood over here is Krishna, once you came, Vrindavan has become even more glorious. And a sign of this glory is that the goddess of fortune stays here permanently. And yet, if the goddess of fortune is here, why has this misfortune befallen us? How is the misfortune that we are bereaved, we are deprived, we are no longer having the fortune of being with you, that we have been abandoned by you? How can this be? So, and they are saying that, and we are not just incidental residents of Vrindavan whom you might abandon. Daita drushyatam dikshutavakas. They are saying basically, our hearts and our lives are devoted to you. They say, our lives are devoted to you, our eyes are searching for you. Daita. Daita is beloved. Drushyatam. We are constantly searching for you everywhere. Dikshutavakas. And it's not just that we are searching for you so that we find you and get something from you. Generally, we search for someone when we need something from them. But they are saying that Krishna, we have come here to serve you. We have come to offer ourselves to you. So we are searching for you in one sense, not to take anything from you, but to offer ourselves to you. Toi dhruta savas tvam vichinvate. Tvam vichinvate. So not only are our eyes devoted to looking for you, we are also running around searching for you. When our lives are devoted to you, when you have made all of this Vrindavan fortunate, we are the residents of Vrindavan who are devoted to you. How can you have made us unfortunate like that? How did you, O Krishna, abandon us like this? So please don't abandon us. This is not becoming for you. Please return. So here they are talking from the perspective of Krishna's relationship with Vrindavan. This is a place which is your place. How can we be unfortunate in such a place like this? So if somebody is known to be a very charitable person, and like Prabhupada said that he wanted that 10 miles around our temples, nobody should go hungry. So now, if somebody is famous for something like that they're very charitable and they make sure that anybody's needs, especially in their vicinity, in that particular locality, are taken care of. Then the question comes up, okay, but then this person has such a great need. How do we deal with this? So they're saying that this is a fortune-filled zone. No. But then how is it that there is no fortune in our life? Please bring the fortune back. So please return. So that's the theme of this particular verse. So that's from the textual perspective. Now the traditional and the institutional perspective, I'll just mention briefly. From the traditional perspective, the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition is specifically Krishna in the mood of Radharani. That is, Radha Bhavadyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. So it is, Krishna has taken the disposition and the complexion of Srimati Radharani. So basically, what is that? It is Krishna in the mood of Radharani in separation from Krishna. So, Divyonmad, the Goswamis also described that sometimes they were just madly searching for Krishna. Hey Radhe Vrajadevike Chalalite. They were constantly searching in separation. So basically, love in separation. That is the defining flavor of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. That is, not only love, is great love, but love in separation. And the Gopi Gita is within the Bhagavatam, the highest expression of such love in separation. So, in fact, we can say to some extent that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken on the mood of the gopis. And of course, that mood is similar in the sense that one is the gopis are separated from Krishna right now and they're searching for Krishna in Vrindavan, they're not able to see him. The other is when Krishna has left Vrindavan and gone away, and the gopis are devastated. Will Krishna come back? Ai deena dayardranatha hai mathuranatha kadavalokya se. That you are the Lord of the Dayardranath, you are a merciful Lord of the fallen. But now you have become Mathuranath. You have left here and gone to Mathura. So how will we live? That how will we function? That similar mood is there in these verses. So these prayers are very deeply resonant. They are deeply reflective of the mood of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Now, from an organizational perspective, basically, Srila Prabhupada, there were two different strands of thought that were there in Prabhupada's presentation. Now, on one side, Prabhupada wanted to protect from Sahajiyaism. We will discuss elaborately as we move forward what is Sahajiyaism in the future verses. But Sahajiyaism essentially is taking the spiritual very cheaply. And that's why, especially not just the spiritual, but the devotional, specifically the mood of the gopis. And this is just like a male-female attraction. And not only take it cheaply, some people imitate that. So Prabhupada would say that is not Ras Leela, that is Rascal Leela. So Prabhupada wanted to protect us from Sahajiyaism. And especially from the time of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, protecting us from Sahajiyaism has been a very important aspect. And that's why Prabhupada would say that at one level, that one shouldn't jump into the 10th canto. Prabhupada says that you go systematically canto to canto. Now, having said that, Prabhupada also wrote the Krishna book. And the Krishna book is directly the 10th canto. And Prabhupada wanted the Krishna book to be mass distributed. So the idea is that we don't want misunderstanding of Krishna on one side. But on the other side, we also want people to have an understanding of Krishna. So Prabhupada gave purports. Not like verse-wise purports, but Prabhupada inserted philosophical passages within the pastimes of Krishna so that his pastimes could be understood. So one side is that it protects from Sahajiyaism, that this is so elevated, this is so exalted as to be inaccessible to us. So that's one side of it. But other side of it is that he made it eminently accessible to us. That he did not edit out or skip the more esoteric parts. He has included the Ras Panchadhyaya. Now, Prabhupada does something special in his translation of the Gopi Gita, which we'll discuss later, in the Krishna book. But Prabhupada has made it accessible. So basically, one side we could say Prabhupada said that this is Sahajiya, they should not have it. The other is, he wanted us to read it. So the balance is more like we access carefully. Access with care. We want to learn about it. We want to grow in it. So, when in the pandemic, I did many series of discussions. So I did a monks podcast, almost 200 episodes I had done. So I had done one with Amarendra Prabhu and with Madhvanand Prabhu, where we discussed several verses of the Ras Leela, the Ras Pancha, of the Gopi Gita basically. So there, the first podcast was basically about why we need to discuss it. So I won't go into all of it, but the key point is that Krishna is our legacy. Krishna is our legacy. And it's our tradition's legacy. We are the Society for Krishna Consciousness. I was talking with one devotee. I just came from Vrindavan. So I was talking with one devotee. And a very sincere devotee has been staying in Vrindavan. And he was telling me that, I was introduced to Krishna Bhakti to ISKCON. Now he is on the borderlines. He goes to Gaudiya Math, he goes to various other teachers. He's an intelligent person, very intelligent person. So he was telling me that I feel that I came to know Krishna after I started hearing classes outside ISKCON. He says, through ISKCON, I was knowing the concept Krishna. But I didn't come to know the person Krishna. Because we talk so much philosophy, we don't talk about the person. And talking about the person is not just knowing some stories. He said, actually, our acharyas have given so much. But I felt that when he spoke that, it struck me also. You know, I have been reading Shastra when I was editing books for Bhanu Maharaj in 2006, 2007. So that time I read Gopal Champu. At that time it was like even the Acharya's books were considered, it was almost as if reading Acharya's books like a sinful activity. So, we should not be doing it. But I had the editing service, so I was reading that. And actually I felt by reading Gopal Champu, I came to know Krishna. Of course we know Krishna to some extent, whatever we know. But I also, I want to write fiction. So there is a concept called character development. Character development means what? Not the development of our character. That is also one aspect of it. But it is like if a novel is being written, if a movie is there, then when you see a character in different situations, you know, if there is a character, okay, if there's a hero, how does the hero deal with the heroine? How does the hero deal with the parents? How does the hero deal with people in general? How does the character act in different situations? And then what are the emotions going on at that time? What are the thoughts going on inside the character? So then when we see a character in different places, and especially we understand the inner dynamics of the character, that inner thoughts, then we understand that character. So basically, if we look at the Krishna book, there are some places we understand Krishna is thinking like this. We may read the Bhagavad Gita's verses, but if we look at Chakravarti Pad, he says, okay, this time Krishna is thinking like this and Arjuna is thinking like this, and that's why this verse comes after this verse. But then, it's like a epiphany. It's like a bulb goes on. Oh, this is like this. So basically, when we go into what Prabhupada has given us in terms of connecting us with the tradition, we go into the Acharya's writings, and especially many of them are written elaborately on the Gopi Gita, then we come to know Krishna. And that is what Prabhupada ultimately wanted us. Prabhupada wanted us, what will please us the most is if we love Krishna. And Prabhupada would say that if we don't know Krishna, how can we love Krishna? He would talk about that with respect to the Christian tradition, where they talk about love of God, but there's not much positive description of God. And that's why basically they have replaced Christ with Jesus, or replaced God with, they treat Jesus just like God. And many of their prayers are to Jesus, because you need to have an accessible person. So while the Madhurya Rasa itself is very exalted, and that can lead to some misunderstandings, but this is the rasa that is the closest to Krishna's heart. This is the relationship that is the most intimate for Krishna. And through this, we can try to understand Krishna more and more. So that is what we'll be trying to do in our sessions. So I'll just quickly, should we stop here, Prabhu? First? Yeah. So let's recite the verse once again. Now, as I said, the Gopi Gita, the first verse which we were discussing, basically, where is it gone? Okay, it's here. So as I mentioned, the first verse, it is a call by the gopis to Krishna. It is saying, generally speaking, we can make a request in different ways. And say, please help me. That's one way of making a request. But if we connect our request with something that is important for that person, then what happens is that becomes more relatable. Say, for example, if some devotee, their focus is on book distribution. Say in our movement also we have different devotees. Vaisheshika Prabhu is fully into book distribution. So now if you want to invite him to some place, tell him, you can come here and do a book distribution seminar. Then he will be eager to come. But if you tell him, okay, can please come and give some general classes, he may or may not come. If you consider Radhesham Prabhu, if you invite him somewhere, so if there's youth preaching, his eyes will open wide. Yeah, okay, we have to go there. But if, okay, there are general congregational programs, he may or he may not come. So basically, when something is important for us, if we link it, if we link our request with something that is important for the other person, then that request has more weight. That request has greater impact. So, when Srila Prabhupada would travel, especially as he became well known in the 70s, then he would get invitations for many, many places to go to. So, how did Prabhupada decide which places to go to? So, yes, that was the two things where Prabhupada said that you double the books, I'll come, not only come there, I'll stay at your place. So, this book to see was important for Prabhupada, he would go there. So, especially where we had already established ISKCON centers, Prabhupada would decide based on, in the Western world especially, where book distribution was happening the most. In India, when he would get invitations, now in India we didn't have so many temples at that time. So Prabhupada would decide where to go based primarily on who was organizing the program, who was inviting. Whether that person was influential, whether that person was going to get a big crowd, whether that person could contribute to maybe build a center over there, whether that person could help in some of the big projects that Prabhupada had. So Prabhupada basically, he got so many invitations, he had a mission. And his mission was to, in one sense, establish the Krishna consciousness movement as a respectable and prestigious movement in India. That's why he wanted to have big, big temples. And he knew that subsequently the movement will spread. So the point is that when devotees would invite, they would say, Prabhupada, if you come here, we will arrange a meeting with you, with the chief minister, with the High Court justice, High Court judge, or this or that. We'll organize these meetings, and this person is there, this person is a big industrialist, that they're interested in something, or this is a very important holy place. And then Prabhupada would plan to go over there. So the gopis are doing something like this. Krishna, you are known as Vrajendra Nandan. You are the Lord of Vrindavan. So the Vrindavan, the reputation of Vrindavan is important for you. The reputation is so great that even the goddess of fortune has come and stayed over here. But within that Vrindavan, if we are abandoned, if we are bereft, we are in agony, what will happen to that reputation of Vrindavan? So therefore, you please return. Please come back. So, Tvai dhruta savas tvam vichinvate. So basically, if you look at, so now drishyatam, if you look at daita drishyatam, this mood of daita drishyatam is very similar to Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatume. Now we sing that quite frequently in Jagannath Yatra, but the meaning is very beautiful over there. That there are two ways to be Krishna conscious. One is to bring Krishna into our consciousness, which is the normal way we do. That, we hear about Krishna, we think about Krishna. So it is like, say, if we come to the temple and we focus our eyes on Krishna. We focus our eyes on Krishna, we look at the deities, we look at the various pictures. So that's one way. But here the prayer is that this is Lord Jagannath who has come on the streets. That Lord has come to give mercy to everyone. So rather than saying that let my eyes go towards you, they're saying in the prayer is, may you come on the path of my eyes. What that means is that actually may you always become visible to me wherever you are. May I always remember you. May I always see you everywhere. The Lord is there everywhere, but we don't see Him everywhere. So the idea is when we are there with Jagannath, we are going to see Him at that time. But may that sight remain with us all the time. So similarly, Daita Drishyatam. We have been searching for you everywhere. Krishna, please become visible to us. Please appear on the path of our eyes. Dikshu Tavakas. Dikshu is a variant of the word Disha, variation. Dikshu, they're searching, we're searching all directions for you. We can't find out. Shrutavakas, for you. We are your devotees. And this mood of searching is a mood that comes in the Bhagavatam repeatedly. We know, right, in the first canto itself, we have Narada as a boy seeing Krishna, and then Krishna disappears. And now, in that case, he's not physically searching everywhere. He had seen Krishna in his heart. So he again sits down in meditation and he tries to see Krishna. But he just can't see Krishna. So that seeing Krishna and then Krishna disappearing, that is a repeated theme in the Bhagavatam. And then the devotee is desperately searching for Krishna. So what is the first canto? That comes in the 10th canto also. So Dvikshutavakas. So we are your devotees. We are searching for you. Tvai dhrutasavas. They say, now Tvai dhrutasavas has many different meanings. It says, we live for you. That's one meaning. But another meaning also is that we are maintaining our lives just for your sake. It is said that, one of prayer in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that after Krishna left, the Gopis had no heart to live. The Gopis could have just given up their lives. But the Gopis were thinking, Krishna has promised we will come back. I will come back. And if Krishna comes back and Krishna expects to see us, and if we are not there, Krishna will feel bad. And no matter how terrible we feel, we don't want Krishna to feel bad. That's why, for Krishna's sake, we will maintain our lives. Tvai dhrutasavas. For you, we are sustaining your life. They're saying that Krishna, without you, it's impossible for us to live. Mahaprabhu would sometimes say that if I really had love for Krishna, then without being able to see Krishna, I should have died long ago. That I am maintaining my life without seeing Krishna, that indicates that I really don't have much love for Krishna. So the Gopis are saying, Tvai dhrutasavas, Krishna, the pain of being without you is unbearable. But we are tolerating that pain, we are enduring it because our lives are meant for you. Tvai dhrutasavas, tvam vichinvate. And we are searching for you. We have been searching everywhere for you. We have not been able to find you. Now, Krishna, it is for you to return. So you can decide. So, in one line, we can do 3-4 times, and then we will stop at the end. Yeah.
Gopya uchuhu
Gopya uchuhu
Jayati te dhikam Janmana vrajaha Jayati te dhikam Janmana vrajaha Jayati te dhikam Janmana vrajaha Jayati te dhikam Jayati te dhikam Janmana vrajaha Jayati te Shrayata indira Shashvadatrahi Shrayata indira Shashvadatrahi Shrayata indira Shashvadatrahi दयेतदृश्यतां देक्षुतावकाश दयेतदृश्यतां देक्षुतावकाश दयेतदृश्यतां देक्षुतावकाश तैधृता सवास्तां विचिन्वते त्वयिधृता सवास्तां विचिन्वते त्वयिधृता सवास्तां विचिन्वते
Thank you. Let's quickly summarize. I discussed 4 main points. We discussed the Gopi Gita basically. First we discussed from a textual perspective how this is at the heart of the Bhagavatam. In the 10th canto, in the Vrajalila, where it is especially the Madhurya Ras, the gopis are in separation. Then within the traditional perspective, we discussed very briefly about that. The mood of love in separation, that is the essence of the mood of Mahaprabhu, that is manifested here. Then within the organizational perspective, we discussed how Prabhupada wanted us to access but with caution. So that is what we will try to do in our series. And lastly, we discussed text 1, how they are connecting their prayer, the gopis, please return, with the glory of Raja. Krishna, you return to preserve the glory of Raja, that it is a place of fortune. How can we be unfortunate like this? So because we had to give some introduction, that's why we could not cover so many verses, but generally we'll try to cover 3 or 4 verses in future sessions. Thank you very much. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki Jai, Shri Gopi Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. The evening session begins at 7, so all devotees are requested, please come on time. And the session, so now there's breakfast prasadam, and evening session there'll be dinner prasadam for everyone. So please do come. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Let us thank His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu by once chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.